This undictated podcast is brought to you by Futuregrowth. Paul Semple from Futuregrowth joins us now. Paul, we've seen an explosion in internet access certainly of broadband in South Africa. It's an area that you've been following closely.
Yes, we have, and we're very pleased to have recently partnered with Dark Fiber Africa as one of their main funders.
Tell us about Dark Fiber Africa. It came to the public attention a while ago, but it's been quiet for a while.
Yeah, Dark Fiber Africa is a company which lays fiber optical cable throughout South Africa, but predominantly in the metropolitan areas. And this fiber optical cable basically transmits data for the telecommunications industry. And to you and to me, for you and me, it means faster internet access.
And the shareholders in the company?
It's a privately owned company, but the major shareholder is Remgro.
Not a bad shareholder to have as a partner there. How did you get invited?
Well, this deal was syndicated to us by an arranger, and it was actually syndicated to the market. So Futuregrowth, on behalf of our pension fund clients, is participating in this deal alongside a number of the banks and some other institutional funders.
What's it capitalised at now?
Dark Fiber Africa has a capital base of about 6 billion rand. We, on behalf, together with our other funders, we provided 3.5 billion rand of debt to the company.
All right. So, from an equity perspective, do you have any interest?
No, we don't have any interest. We would like interest, but as I say, it's a privately owned company at this stage.
So Rembrandt are keeping the equity to themselves, but they are looking to you to help them to fund the process. 3.5 billion is a big slug, even for a big group like yours.
Yes, well, we're providing part of that. Our clients, on behalf of our clients, we've provided 450 million of that 3.5 billion. That's spread over 3 to 6 years in duration. Hopefully we'll remain invested, that the company will continue to roll this debt.
You don't make a decision like that lightly. Just take us through your due diligence process.
Okay, well, first and foremost, we always like to take a view on the management of this company. And as you've already mentioned, they've got a great shareholder in Remgro, and they've got a very strong board of directors. We've met with the company on a couple of occasions. We've looked at their operations. We've got a lot of comfort from their track record that they've been able to establish over the last 7 or 8 years. A lot of our work also went into the legal contracts. Often there's a risk that details could be missed in these legal contracts, and it's very important to Futuregrowth as well that our clients are pari passu in all respects with the other lenders, particularly given that this was a syndicated investment. So those were our main areas, and of course the financial side of the transaction we also gave a lot of time and attention to.
Is the company is it making money yet, Paul? Is it going to be? Is it safe enough in that it is a profitable entity?
Oh yes, Dark Fiber Africa is a profitable entity, and it's got a great track record. As lenders, we're very pleased to be involved in this company as well.
What are they going to use the 3.5 billion rand for?
First and foremost, it's been used to refinance their existing or their previous project finance debt, but there's also a bit of headroom in the facility to allow them to grow and to continue to roll out this network infrastructure that they have.
And at the moment, that infrastructure, is it primarily in the metropolitan areas?
Yeah, primarily in the metropolitan areas. They provide the links between the base tower stations for the cell phone companies, and they are creating more and more links. So although they've basically covered most of the metropolitan areas, there's more base stations going up, and they're able to just increase their coverage of these areas.
I'm sure you followed the travails, certainly in the early days, of Seacom. It wasn't a easy path, but they do seem to have settled down now. The industry as a whole, is there still a lot of potential for growth in this sector?
There is not a lot of potential for growth in the metropolitan areas, mostly because these areas have been already covered, and actually mainly by Dark Fibre Africa, but there are other infrastructure providers as well. I'd say the most growth is probably in the outlying areas, in the rural areas, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for new players to come in there.
Are they looking to go?
Fibre Africa is also rolling out their infrastructure to those areas.
Yeah, that was my question. Are you, as far as the rural areas are concerned, are there any particular parts of the country that they'll be focusing on?
Not any particular areas that I can mention right now, but just generally closer to the metropolitan areas, and then moving out, of course. That would be the optimum way to go.
So we see this, or will see this return on this investment in the speed of internet access. If you go back a few years, and I'm sure in your research this did come up, how much have we improved in South Africa in that on that front?
Well, look, we've come a long way over the last 5 or so years, in particular, but there's still a long way to go. I think businesses are benefiting the most right now from this rollout of the fibre optical cable, as most businesses are connecting onto this. But it's really the private homes that have a much longer way to go. And there are initiatives that are taking place to connect homes to the fibre optical network. But that's probably a longer term project by the country, and we're probably looking at the next 3 to 5 years for that to happen.
And the benefits of having those homes connected for a company like Dark Fibre Africa? Well,
the benefits are increased usage of their cables, and particularly for the telecommunication customers that lease this capacity from Dark Fibre Africa. There's a huge amount of capacity that is in this network, and really it's only a marginal amount of it's being used. So the more customers that sign up to the telecommunication customers that DFA has, the more capacity they'll use of this network.
Just explain that again, if you would, Paul. So Dark Fibre Africa actually doesn't sell directly to consumers, but it goes through the mobile companies.
Yes, correct. It leases capacity or usage, really, of its network to the industry. Most of the mobile operators, as well as internet service providers.
So the money that it would be raising now would be just to increase that network that it already has installed.
That's right.
How many kilometers are currently installed of?
Right now, they have installed over 8,000 kilometers around the country. As I said, predominantly in the metropolitan areas.
And a big driver, I guess, for getting South Africa into the internet age. Rather belatedly, but we certainly seem to be there now.
Absolutely, and apart from the benefits of increasing internet speed, Dark Fibre Africa promotes competition because of its ability to lease out its capacity to the market. So this eliminates duplication by the different telecommunication providers in laying down their own networks, and this effectively reduces overall costs in the industry.
Paul, on your 450 million rand that you've invested on behalf of clients, what kind of returns are you being guaranteed?
Well, we will be charging an interest rate on the debt that we've lent, but that is very much in line with the bank's interest rates, and it's a risk-adjusted rate.
Which means?
Well, I can't divulge the exact cost of DFA's funding, but it is a market-related rate.
Paul Semple is with Futuregrowth, and this